Hello, I'm Jean Meserve in Washington. Welcome to Early Prime. About an hour ago, the Space Shuttle Atlantis docked with the MIR space station. CNN's John Holloman provided the play-by-play during our live coverage of the docking, and he joins us now from Atlanta with the latest. John?
Well, Jean, they did it. The Shuttle Atlantis docked successfully with Space Station MIR. It was about 2 minutes later than planned, but the docking looked perfect from the ground. During the final approach from about 30 feet away, MIR sent live pictures to the ground, and the shuttle made videotape. That's what the front of Atlantis looks like as it was seen by the MIR just about 7 minutes before the docking. And I think we now have videotape from the shuttle to show you as well. That's a picture in the shuttle's cargo bay, again showing the docking connector. Ground managers in Houston and Korolev in Russia have confirmed the docking tunnel is not leaking, so the airlock separating the two spaceships can be opened on schedule, a little less than a half hour from now. Isn't that pretty? The shuttle MIR combination is flying over South America right now, and you can see it's still daylight down there below. One NASA official in Russia told our Jill Doherty a few minutes ago that when the door opens, Commander Jim Weatherby will have his right hand outstretched for a handshake, but in his left hand he'll probably have that replacement computer for MIR. The space station needs a lot, and the shuttle has much of the material to bring MIR back up to normal operation. In addition to the computer, there's enough water to keep the crew alive for more than a month, and there are repair parts for the leak in MIR's Spectre module. That leak was not found in the spacewalk conducted by Commander Anatoly Soloviev and astronaut Mike Foale a few weeks back. The arrival ceremony is coming up next, and there'll be lots of hugs for both crews. Tomorrow morning, Mike Foale will become a shuttle crew member for the first time in 4 months, and David Wolf will become a MIR resident for the next 4 months. Jean?
Michael Foale, John, has been up there for a harrowing several months. When are we likely to hear from him?
I'm going to talk to him on Tuesday morning at about 10:25 here on CNN. He'll still be up there at that time, and he'll probably do some other interviews while he's in space. As soon as he gets back to Earth, I plan to have a nice long sit-down with him and, try to pick his brain about what really happened up there. It was pretty much touch and go a time or two while he was in space.
Okay, John Holloman in Atlanta, thank you for joining us. Rescue workers in Indonesia continue the grim task of searching for the remains of those
power units, those all-important power units that allow the astronauts to control the ailerons of the spacecraft when it becomes an aeroplane.
Leo, just hang on just a few moments as we look at these pictures just briefly, and we'll be back to you in just a few seconds. And it's at this point where we welcome our Canadian viewers to our special coverage of the landing of the Space Shuttle Atlantis, which touched down just a few minutes ago very safely. And here we have these pictures for you from Cape Canaveral in Florida, and we're talking to our space analyst, Leo Enright. Leo, just to bring us up to date, would you, especially for our Canadian viewers, tell us about the landing. It was an extremely good landing, wasn't it?
Yes, the Space Shuttle made a perfect landing.
Floods, drought,
famine that they've landed, but this one was difficult because they faced crosswinds blowing across the runway at something like 15 miles an hour. It was unusually difficult landing for that reason, and the pilot and commander are to be congratulated for placing the spacecraft right in the center of the runway.
So, as you were telling us, it's going to be about 40 or maybe 50 minutes before Michael Foale, who's on board there, and the rest of the crew will be allowed to come off. Why is that again?
Well, this is because of the dangers of the fumes that might be leaking from the spacecraft. These are highly toxic fuels that are stored aboard the spacecraft. I know my colleague Tom Carver, who's at the Kennedy Space Center, is currently in a position where the journalists are not able freely to commentate for the very simple reason that they're kept in a compound quite close to where the space shuttle is at the moment, but they've all been issued with gas masks and they've all been briefed on what to do if there is a sudden release of gas from the spacecraft. So this is never a routine business. The landing of a space shuttle is dangerous just for several reasons, not least the fact that it has no power of its own. It glides into a landing, all 90 tons of it, and even when it stops, they must be absolutely certain that toxic gases are not leaking from those three huge engines that we see at the back of the spacecraft.
Leo Enright, thanks very much indeed for joining us. And now let's move on to the rest of the news. And just hours after the triumphal return to Gaza of the spiritual head of